It's 7 o'clock, and I really want to keep to the time. So even though we're just about four here, I think we should start, and then the others would probably join us as we go along. Um, so if you have any question, you can use the chat box to let me know what your question might be. Today's class is on listening test. So I want you to, as the topic as rightly says, listening. So please just listen, and hopefully you will, get the most out of it. So listening is one of the tests you have to do when you're writing IELTS exam, and listening test is series of questions that are based on a pre-recorded conversation. It could be an interview. It could just be a speech. So this series of recording will be played to you, and you're supposed to answer the question as you are listening to the audio. Don't worry if it sounds strange. At the end of this class, we'll do practical. We'll look at a practical scenario of a listening test. So you would actually, do a listening test in this class. So now I believe you can see my slide. My slide here is basically looking at the 4 tests you're going to do, a summary of it at a glance. So today I want to talk about listening. So I won't say anything here, but for the other ones, reading, you have 40 questions, 1 hour. Every session, you have an instruction and an example to follow. And then you have to read the passages and answer the questions. Questions can come in form of labeling a diagram, completing a sentence, filling forms, gap completions. So you can have also questions, different types of formats. Then you have the speaking test, which is, give or take for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, where you will be sitting in front of an interviewer and you're supposed to be engaged in a dialogue with the interviewer. It's pretty simple. It's a relaxed atmosphere, so you are supposed to make a speech based on the topic that will be given to you, and then afterwards there will be questions, follow-up questions from that speech that you've just done. And so it's usually about 15 to 20 minutes depending on the interviewer. Then the writing test, which is here. You have 2 tasks to write: a letter and an essay. So the letter, you're supposed to do 150 words at the minimum, and the essay 250 words. 1 hour you have to do both. Usually they tell you to use 20 minutes for the letter and 40 minutes for the essay, but really it's up to you, because you are in control of your time, so you can actually work as you deem it fit. Now back to today's class, which is listening. So listening is probably the test that most people are scared of. It's understandable, because a recording is being played to you, and you're supposed to listen to the recording, and at the same time you are meant to answer the question that is in your front. So it could be a bit intimidating sometimes, but really you can master it. Unlike reading and writing, the time is managed on your behalf. What I mean is, in the other ones, reading and writing, you can decide to do number 10 to 40 before you come back to number 1 to 10, or you can do number 17 and then go back to 35. You can skip questions and do the ones you think are simple enough, then come back to the most difficult ones. But in listening, you don't have that kind of control, you don't have that kind of flexibility. You have to be able to answer the questions as they come. That is how it is. There is no other way. So just remember that you have to be able to question as it comes. So just in case you missed out any question, don't dwell on it. You keep moving as the conversation is going, keep moving on with the conversation. Then listening is a skill, it's not necessarily a gift, so you can learn and develop the skill. Listening is about picking out hidden details in a conversation or recording. So remember that when you are going into that exam. Or now typically you're going to have instructions given to you, instructions like write one word, write two words, write not more than three words. Write not more than three words means that you can write one word, you can write two words, or you can write three words, but not more than three words. Write maximum three words. So this is the same as write not more than three words. So you can write one, you can write two, you can write three. Write less than three words, still saying the same thing, less than three words. Okay. So so this is clear. Write less than three words, so meaning you should write less than three words. You can write one word, you can write two words, but you can't write three words because you're asked to write less than three words. Write exactly three words. So this means you can't write one, you can't write two, you have to write exactly three words. An article like A and V are all counted as words. So remember that when they are saying write two words, you should know that A is a word, is counted as a word, and is counted as a word. Also, prepositions in, of, at, through, all these are considered as words. So when you are asked to write exactly three words, so you know when you put V or you put of, at, A, these are all words that will add up to your three words, depending on what you're asked to do. Numbers also are counted as words. So for example, if the question says, give two examples of fruits in the basket, only mention any two fruits that is in the basket. Don't be tempted to mention all the fruits in the basket. Not more than three words means that you can write one or two or three. Any of this will be correct. Now, so an example you have here, the speaker on the recording says, well, if you are dieting, try to avoid fruits with lots of fructose like watermelon, mango, peaches, or grapes. That's the recording. Now the question in the booklet is, name two fruits a person on diet should not eat. Now you have several answers there. You have watermelon, mango, cheese, or grape. But the question says name two fruits. So don't be tempted to write all the four fruits that you have there. Don't write three, only write two. That's what the question is. If you write more than two, then you receive a score of 0 for that question because you have not followed the instruction. Now, again, to emphasize in terms of word count, if you have something like 6 million in words, that's two words. If you have 12th June, that's two words. A date format like this is one word. 75 written in digit is one word. 75 written in words is what? Two words. So just remember all of this and take note of them. A curtain material is two words, but if you write material made of curtain, that's four words. Now, the types of tasks that you would normally see in this listening test, you have things like selecting pictures, multiple choice, short answer question, sentence completion, form completion, chart or table completion, gap fill, and then diagram labeling. So these are the different formats a question can come at you. So remember that you are only expected to answer. Don't copy out the question or sentence. you're wasting precious time. Start by eliminating the wrong answers for multiple choice questions. So the good thing about the listening test is that before the recording will be played to you, you already have the answers, and they will give you like 1 to 2 minutes to read the answers. So the answers are good. The questions will come in groups, in sections. So you probably have section 1, question 1 to 5, and then the instruction will say focus on 1 to 5. A recording will be played which you will use to answer question 1 to 5. But before the recording will be played, they will allow you, they will give you like 1 to 2 minutes to study the question. So at that point, all you have to do is just look at question 1 to 5 and study it. If there are keywords in question 1 to 5, try and either circle them or just underline, find a way to mark them so that you know these are the keywords you have to listen for when the recording is being played. So these are tricks you need to adapt or adopt when you are in the examination hall. Another thing that is important is that to note is that questions are going to come in sequential order, so in chronological order. So what that means is that you will hear the answer to question 1 before question 2, question 2 before question 3, and so on. So that way you can really on number 1, because you will not hear the answer to question 2 before you hear the answer to question 1. So that's how it is organized. So that way there is no confusion. You are not looking for answer to question 5 before answer to question 1. So it follows that order, sequential order. Now, like I said before, focus on the group of questions being asked. So if the instruction says that you should focus on question 1 to 5 for the recording that will be played, then focus on only question 1 to 5. Now, answer as you listen. What that means is that while you are listening and you are writing your answer, at the same time, you are also listening for the next answer. So you have to be able to do 2 things at the same time. Answer the question that is immediate, and then you're also listening while you are answering the immediate question. You are also listening for the next answer in that sequential order. So this is something you have to practice. There will be some time at the end of the recording for you to look at your answers again. So, and if you missed any question, there is no negative mark for a wrong question, so you can as well guess the answer, because at that time you won't recording again and you probably won't remember what the recording says exactly, so you can guess what you think the answer might be. Now, when you are also listening to the recording, you need to watch out for specifics like numbers, house address, email, opening hours, cars. These are cues to the answer to the question. So when you hear things like telephone number, when you hear something about email or types of transportation, these are the cues that you need to watch out for to know that there is probably a chance that this is an answer to the question in the in your answer booklet or on your screen. Again, when a word is being repeated or being spelled out for clarity, that is usually a cue. So maybe in a conversation, somebody says, "What is your name?" and you said your name is Grace, and the person says, "I didn't get that." Then then the conversation now goes something like, "I mean Grace, Grace." That is an emphasis, and that is probably an answer to a question. So always remember that. Sometimes when they have to repeat it, also repeating a particular phrase or word, it's usually a cue. It's a pointer to an answer in the questions that have been given to you. Again, you have 40 questions and with 4 sections. So the questions or the sections, they get progressively harder. So as you move along, it gets harder. So what that means is that maybe the first question from 1 to 10 will be very easy. You just jump at it and you find it very easy. But as you progress, you find out that the level of difficulty is increasing. So you need to be prepared psychologically to know that the first few questions will be very simple and it'll be straightforward. I will be able to take it head on. But then as I move along, it will become more, difficult or a bit, tricky for you. So remember that. Now, all answers require correct spelling again. So remember that you might get the answer correctly, but you must be able to, you might know the answer, but again, you must be able to spell it correctly. Sometimes when they want to, maybe they think the question, the spelling might be a bit difficult. In that same passage, there will be, maybe there'll be a repetition or a spell out of that particular word so that you can then write the correct answer. So remember that. Be careful when you're filling the gap question. Supply only the missing words. What I mean is this. So for example, if you have a passage or a question that says the man woke up in the dash, and if the answer from the recording is afternoon, then write only afternoon. Writing in the afternoon will be incorrect, because that's not what they expect you to do. So you are only meant to write that afternoon alone. Don't include in the which is already given to you in the question. So I have a sample passage here that I wanted to share with you so that you could see it. So this is Apollo car rental. Now you have question 1 to 5. So this is what will happen in the exam. They will give you this passage. They will ask you for 2 minutes to study this question 1 to 5, because after the 2 minutes, they will play the recording for question 1 to 5. Now, if you look at question 1 to 5, you see that one is talking about the name of the client. The first name is not given, but the last name is given. The last name is Anderson. So when you are listening to the recording, you are listening for the first name of that client, which will give you the answer to question 1. Question 2 is saying age, meaning that in that conversation, at some point, the age of Anderson will be mentioned. So that will give you the answer to question 2. In that same passage or in that same recording, they will talk about the address, 28 Woodland Close, Hightown. Then they will move on to the postcode for that address, which will give you the answer to number 3. Again, the recording will mention telephone number, which is already stated here. It's not a question, it's just a continuation of that recording. Then there will be a mentioning of payment method. Now, this suggests that probably this Anderson wanted to go and rent a car, and so at some point, they will be discussing the payment method for which he will use to rent the car. So that will give you the answer to question 4. Like that, rental date will be mentioned. That's the date in which probably he wants to take the car. So that's 25th to 25th of May. And then the car will be the answer to question 5. So once you see the way this is arranged, you can quickly listen and you can watch out for the answer in the recording. It's that simple. I'm using this as an example because this will, guess what, you will have a question like this, pretty simple and straightforward. This will probably be at the beginning of the test, because they will always give you simple questions at the beginning, and then as you go along, it becomes harder. Another example is here. This is another series of question. But the difference in this one and the other one is that this is harder if you think about it. So this is discussing how many things here. You are having like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you see, you're having like there is an homework club, there's a basketball club, there's a music evening club, dramatic arts club. So in that in the recording, so there will be a mentioning of the homework club when they meet, which is weekdays evening from 4 p.m. And then they meet for 2 hours in a quiet environment. True members of Dash are always there. So when you are listening to the recording, you will find us to this question. But again, this is other. You can see that it's more information in your front, so you must be able to follow each of those lines. The good thing is that the answer to number 15 will always come before 16. You're not going to see the answer to number 18 before you see the answer to number 15. So they follow a sequential order, meaning that if you miss the answer to number 15, don't wait there. Keep on moving. If you keep staying at number 15, you will miss the answer to 16, you will miss that of 17, because they come in that sequential order. So I think that's clear enough. Now you have here some things to take note of, which is simple enough. I've explained this before, that you focus on the group of questions that the instruction is asking you to focus on. If the instruction says focus on questions 11 to 16, those are the only group of questions you should look at. You can study it, underline or circle the keywords that you want to watch out for in the recording. So that is allowed. You'll be given like 2 minutes before each group of questions to start. Before each recording, you'll be given some minute, like 2 minutes, to study that group of questions that is associated with that recording. So in that period, you can study the question thoroughly, what to expect when you are listening to the conversation. Listen for specifics. I've mentioned that, like names, places, house, telephone number, dates, opening hours, years. All of this is important. Know your cues. The answer is pronounced louder or clearer. Words may be spelled out for emphasis and accuracy. I've mentioned that before. And then, of course, you need to you might want to encircle words from the questions before the recording is played, so that you just what I'm looking out for in the recording. So I want us to take a short test now. We still have a few minutes left. So I want us to take a short test. I will play a conversation to us. I don't know if you are in agreement. I want to unmute us now. So I want to unmute everybody now. So are we in agreement? I want us to take a short test. Is that okay with us? So all you need to do is just for you to take out a piece of paper. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to play a recording for you. This is the question right here on the screen. So it's question 1 to 6. Play a recording for you, and you're supposed to listen to that recording and answer this question that is right in your front. So it's easy. So just listen to it. I'll give you like a minute to study the question. Then I'll play the conversation. I'll play the recording, and then you can then answer the question. So now you can study the question. I will give you 2 minutes to study the question. So just study it, and then I will play the conversation. The recording for which you would use to answer question 1 to 6. So I'm giving you 2 minutes to study the questions. So you have 1 more minute before I play the recording. Okay, so we are ready with I'm ready to play the audio now. So just listen and answer the question.
You will hear an extract from a talk given to a group who are going to stay in the UK.
Good evening and welcome to the British Council. My name is John Parker and I've been asked to talk to you briefly about certain aspects of life in the UK before you actually go there. So I'm going to talk first about the best ways of making social contacts there. Now, you might be wondering why it should be necessary. After all, we meet people all the time. But when you're living in a foreign country, it can be more difficult, not just because of the language, but because customs may be different. If you're going to work in the UK, you will probably be living in private accommodation, so it won't be quite so easy to meet people. But there are still things that you can do to help yourself. First of all, you can get involved in activities in your local community. Join a group of some kind. For example, you'll probably find that there are theatre groups who might be looking for actors, set designers and so on. Or if you play an instrument, you could join music groups in your area. Or if you like the idea of finding out about local history, there'll be a group for that too. These are just examples. And the best place to get information about things like this are either the town hall or the public library. Libraries in the UK perform quite a broad range of functions nowadays. They're not just confined to lending books, although that's their main role, of course.
So that's the passage.
You will hear an extract from a talk given.
So that's it. I hope that you've been able to answer the question. I want to unmute you guys now and see if you've been able to. So, who was able to answer the question? Anybody?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to show you the answers now, so you can compare with what you have, what you've written down, and see whether you got it right. Or can we answer here? Can you just tell me what you wrote down?
Mommy, stop you, like.
11 was language and customs.
Okay.
Then music and local history, town hall and public library.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's actually the but the slide now I would show my answers, which is pretty much what you've already said. So here is the transcript of the same audio you listened to. So, and the question by the side. But these are the answers. Sorry. Okay. So, what two factors can make social contact in a foreign country difficult? The first one is language. The second is custom. Really, you can any of the two can come first. So it doesn't matter whether you say custom first or language second. It really doesn't matter. And if you look at the passage, you see where the answer is located. You can see here language, and then you have customs. Now you see that the question to 1 and 2 coming first before any other answers. The next question says, which type of community group does the speaker give examples of? If you listen very well, you see that he mentioned the theater group first, and he says that is for those who are looking for actors, set designers, and so on. And then he also mentioned the music group. He says that there is a music group in case you want to play an instrument. And then you have the local history group. So whichever one you want to bring first, it doesn't matter if you say local history before music group, but the two are basically correct. And you see that those two answers are coming before the answers to question 5 and 6. 5 and 6 says, in which two places can information about activities be found? So again, you can find it here. You can find information from the town hall or the public library. So and that those are the two answers here. So that's how it is. The questions come, and that's how basically you would answer in the exam. Now this question looks a bit simple. So this is what you will find beginning of your test. But as you move along, you find other questions. You find questions that are a bit tougher, which you are meant to still answer. So that's all I have in terms of this class today. So if you have any question, I want to use the remaining time that is left to answer questions.